Read it out so everybody joined in here. 1 second. Do 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 do. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a wonderful and blessed weekend. And here we are again for the Elliott Wave Analysis Show, riding the waves. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. With John and Paul. And I've got Paul here from Colorado doing well. Paul, can we get a sound check? I want to make sure everybody can hear you okay.
You bet. Thanks, John. How's it going out there?
Awesome. Good. Hey, guys. Hey, Robin. Can everybody hear? Did everybody hear Paul okay coming through? Just want to make sure we got a good sound check here.
Yep. Sunday night.
Sunday. Awesome. Thanks, Christian. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. All right. So excited about another great show here with Algo 382 with Paul riding the waves with John and Paul. And so today's going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about a couple special things out there, particularly channels.
Riding the waves. Tweeted out.
And so we got that going on.
Right.
Before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what we normally do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off in the market on Friday, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see how they're behaving or misbehaving here this evening, and then we'll get in the show with Paul and looking forward to it. So we're going to kind of, when I go through the analysis right here, when I get to the daily chart, we're going to take a look at the Elliott Wave, at least a couple counts that I'm seeing right here on the market, and then we'll kind of go through that. So let's get started here. So SPX, okay, so monthly charts hanging in there, right? So we still have a green monthly chart. We're amazingly finishing up November. We got Thanksgiving this week. So guys, remember the market's going to be closed. The general market, the New York Stock Exchange will be closed on Thanksgiving, and then it's going to be a half day on Friday. So the market will close at 1 o'clock Eastern time on Friday. So just keeping that in mind. We're seeing a lot of inside weeks this week and some double inside weeks, which is really exciting. And we may see a breakout in those names if the market really wants to get excited, or we could see some more chop this week, some low volume as traders go on vacation. So we've got that going on too. Anyway, monthly chart still an okay. We had an inside month prior. It did break out of the inside month, and now it's kind of coming into that inside month level. So we have to be really careful to make sure that level holds. Otherwise, it might want to get into 50% of the range of that prior monthly candle. So we kind of need to keep an eye on that here too. Last week with an inside week, right? So we were looking at possibly a doji sandwich move to the upside to support our bullish count, and now we've kind of paused out right there, right? We finished down 24 points on Friday. We left with an inside week. So let's take a look at a couple potential wave counts that we have going on here. So one of the key things I want to talk about tonight with Elliott Wave is that impulsive moves and corrective patterns often are contained by channels, right? So so you can see that very clearly here just recently, right? So this recent impulsive move up, right, for the B move, which is part of a corrective move, was channel bound, right? And then we broke down right here through another channel until we really broke down, and then that was very, very bearish, right? You can see we pushed down here, forming the what ended up being the low of the fresh trend line. But one of the things that we were looking at, particularly in this move, was that it was possible that this was a wave one up and this was the wave two, right? And then we were going to see a blast off, right? So that channel actually could have turned into a bull flag, and we could have worked our way up from there. Instead, it broke down, and then it gave a huge impulsive move up, and here we are again back into a potential corrective channel on the SPY. So it's a stretch here that if this still wants to be bullish, this count could be valid, right? So this could be a wave one up, this could be ABC wave two, and we might be working on a sub wave one, wave two, and could be blasting out of this potential bull flag, this corrective channel, with a wave three of three, which would be super bullish, right? So that's great, except that we're still in the corrective channel. So we need to really break out of there to confirm. So I really don't want to mess with this thing too much until we get out of there, because, right, this now if that were still bullish, right, what we would do is we'd have our corrective channel or our impulsive channel here, but we'd have to break out pretty quickly. In other words, we'd have to gap up tomorrow, push through the channel, have a good volume day, and then really just see this thing start to go, right? So that could be the channel right there. But otherwise, the prior channel was looking like this on that impulsive wave up, that wave one up was looking just like this right here. And you can see we've already kind of broken down through there a little bit, showing that that impulsive move is done and we're now in the corrective pattern, right? So tomorrow's gonna be a very important day for the market. We'll see if we can take an inside day up. The SPX as well, like we said, was an inside week. So getting over all those levels would be very, very bullish if it could do it. Otherwise, a breakdown below the inside day low, because keep in mind we're below the 80 MA right now, and a breakdown below that inside week low could start to see the bottom of this channel, at which point this count starts to change and becomes an A, B, C move down, possibly to the bottom of the channel to the 382. Possibly we see some more choppy, grindy, corrective type action. Maybe even down to the upper trend line, the 618. This type of area right here to the cloud. So we definitely want to keep an eye on this and see where we go from there. Again, the news itself doesn't really support a bullish move out there, right? There's been spats between the Treasury and the Fed. There's been increased corona cases around the world, and a U.S. election that hasn't been certified yet. So we don't really see a lot here. However, it doesn't mean that we didn't completely work our way up to all-time highs on that sort of irrationality anyway, right? So, we still had increased corona cases, we still had political chaos, we still had elections going through, and we're still grinding our way up to all-time highs, right? So don't underestimate the power of the market to continue to squeeze out the bears and work its way up. So the good news is for the market, though, despite all the crazy news, is that earnings are still really good out there, right? Apple had good earnings, Amazon had good earnings, Nvidia had good earnings, right? So a lot of these companies are still doing well, right? A lot of these highly weighted companies on the stock market are still being profitable, right? So we want to keep an eye on that. We also want to keep an eye on the small caps and see how they hold, because if they continue to break down and if they struggle with profits, that could weigh on the market a little bit heavier. So again, it's a very, very interesting time. And again, let's just kind of keep an eye on these channels and these counts and see how they go. So a little bit of a long-winded explanation here today, but I wanted to kind of preface these channels here this week for the Elliott Wave topic. So let's take a look at the action here on Friday. Generally we're leaning pretty bearish on it, right? We had this triangle breakout the day before, and then we kind of gapped down a little bit. We just couldn't really get into that closing gap, and we saw some choppy action here. And then all of Friday was this beautiful triangle here intraday, and then it took all day, but we broke down at the end of the day. And you can see here, these are the levels that we provide to our members, how important they were. And one of the key things with this triangle, right, is where we could not break out of, right? So it tried to break out right here, but the risk reward wasn't very good, right? We came right into this volumetric high level. This is your value area high from the day before. And so we found resistance here, we found resistance here. And then once we broke out of that triangle, it was game over, right? We got down to the next levels below. This was an excellent short for us in the group. And then it gave a quick pop to the upside, retested the triangle, and then flushed back down right below the prior day's open. So really, really cool stuff, and some excellent price action there. So anyway, guys, happy to have Algo 382. Happy to have Paul here with us again this evening as we have our show for the weekly analysis, riding the waves with John and Paul. So I'm going to turn it over to Paul for a little bit and see what kind of stocks that he has on his radar going into this short week, this holiday week. So Paul, what you got?
All right. Hey, one I was looking at was Space. It's a pretty popular one. I have a pitchfork on it now since we're talking about channels. Okay, you got, all right. Looks like we started off with a wave 1 and 2 down to the corner here, a 50% retrace, and then we got a wave 1 up towards the top of the channel. And I'm thinking we might get a pullback into this fib zone and maybe bounce off the lower trend line here in Space.
Got it. Nice. So that's not the golden zone, right? We've talked about the golden zones before, right? That's just a fib zone, right? The golden zone is what?
618 to 786.
The 618 to 786, and I think I've been calling all these boxes golden zones, but right, the 618 to the 786 is the golden zone, right? That's a key zone that Paul has found while chasing all these algos. So wow, Space is giving some pretty big moves right there. So let's see if it gives a viable pullback on that. It looks pretty good. What else are you stocking this week?
Let's see. One of my favorites would have to be AMD. So let me bring that up here.
AMD, yeah, that's been such a hot mover either way.
Yeah, let me put this on. Okay, so here we go. So this setup starts out with an ABC wave 4, and you can count the waves in the A and then the B and then the C. Both A and C end in ending diagonals, and then we get a pretty standard 1, 2, and then we get a 5-wave leading diagonal for wave 1, which is a pretty identifiable pattern. So we're
Nice.
thinking we had the wave one up and it went right to the top of this trend line, and we're thinking we're going to get a bounce down into the box, down into the. It'd be nice if we bounce right off the 618.
So
We
you
like
need
to see that, but occasionally it dips a little lower and goes into the golden zone. But we pretty much want to see it bounce off the 618, and we're looking
nice.
at that one
Okay,
tomorrow.
great. Yeah, so keep an eye on AMD rejecting those levels, but if we can bounce off of those areas right there, we might see a big push up for AMD. That would be pretty cool. AMD had a big day the other day. We caught that in the group on that big blast off intraday. I mean, we weren't expecting it to go as high as it was, but we were willing to ride that wave as long as we could. Just an incredible day. It was more than a double on the intraday options on that. It was just a fantastic trade on that. That was a fun one. So there's something going on. I mean, there's let me pull up the chart real quick on that. Paul, give me 1 second.
Sure.
I gotta show this because we were really excited about this in the group. We were stocking AMD on the long side that day, and that was here. So we like this, right? So it was generally pretty strong all day. It was kind of gearing up energy right here. It got really really tight, and we got long here. This is the 15 orb high right here. There was a strong close with ink. We just noticed the volume coming in here. We closed above the 15 orb high and the high of the day. Well, let's get long on this, right? This thing looks like it's going to go. I mean, our initial target was basically like right here, right? But it just was so strong when it kept. Like, okay, let's keep riding this thing and have it keep going. So this turned out to be an incredible move, but it was shocking, right? This move just like Tesla that day, and but there was no news, right? No news came out on this. There was no. It was just like AMD high of the day was the news on it, and something's going on with AMD. It's like there's a lot of buy. That's some institutional buying it right there, and somebody's loading up on this thing for some reason. So I like your bullish count on it, and I think it could support that interesting volume that came in the other day. Plus, it made a great day trade. So
Right, right. Yep.
so good. What else are you looking at?
See, we can go to how about Regeneron? That's a popular one right now.
Regeneron, nice. I think I saw that pop up in the chat box too.
Yeah, since we're talking about channels, let me get this here on a 4 hour. Regeneron has been in this corrective channel for it looks like 6 months, and it's a big complex correction, a WXY, and it's possible that we might get this wave C down right to this channel before we get a bounce. Wave C is going to be 5 waves, and right now we got 1, 2, 3, and we're just doing wave 4. I think we'll get sub wave 5 down to the bottom of this channel and get a good bounce out of here.
That'd be great. Wow, that could be a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
Great find on that one.
Yeah. Let's see what's something else here. Another one that's really setting up nice would have to be Baba. Let's see.
Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing
So,
really pushed the other day. This is a huge move.
yeah. So we had this big ABC correction for wave 4, went down to about 50%, and then we had this wave 1 up. I looked at this under like a 5 or 15 minute time frame, and it looks like wave 1 is finished. And
Cool.
we should get a wave 2 pullback tomorrow, thinking around the 50% to 60%.
That'd be awesome. So yeah, so let's look for a Bible dip on Baba. That'd be great. Yeah, big push.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge move, and we talked about that. Let me show that to you guys too, just using kind of non-Elliott wave type techniques. But Elliott wave does talk about retesting triangles. But let's take a look at Baba here. What I want to show you on the daily chart, and I think this is a chart request from nope, Shirley didn't. Surely didn't ask about it. I think Rocky asked about it a little bit earlier, so we'll go ahead and hit this one here. So one of the big things with Baba, and I know this is a sloppy chart right here, but one of the big things that we're looking at on this is that this prior triangle, right? This prior, very very possibly like a wave 4 triangle was pretty symmetrical, right? A B C D E, and then it kind of worked its way out, right, for a wave 5. Maybe this is a part of a wave 5 and just kind of finished its the final part right here. But where it came back down to is right to the middle of the triangle. And I like to call this bow and arrow support, right? So the triangle itself is like a bow, and then the center of the triangle becomes the arrow, right? So I like to call it bow and arrow support. And so it came right to that level right there and then just bounced off of it, right? Because we know when we come back and retest triangles, often because it's a congestion zone, consolidation is a big level of interest, right? You can see the bulls got very interested right there, stepped it up. We talked about this little kind of hammer. It was a red hammer, possible hanging man man. But once it broke to the upside, this thing really launched and got over the 8 EMA, right? So that's tradable off of the 8 EMA there. It was also prior support level 2, and then just really pushed. So again, like you said, let's look for this. It looks like it's starting to impulse up right here. Maybe we'll get a nice retrace on it. Maybe retest that prior support level, and then we'll see if it's go time on it. That would be pretty cool. So good stuff there. Is there another one that you want to look at, or?
I could show you one more. Let's see.
Yeah, and then I'll put a couple.
eBay was looking pretty interesting.
Yeah, eBay. This is on the radar too. I think this is in the bubble report the other day.
I think it was. Yeah, we've been watching this one for a while. We had, our standard ABC wave 2 correction. Looks like an overlapping leading diagonal for wave 1 right up into the cloud, and we're thinking, what's after wave 1? We should get a wave 2 pullback down to 5618 region and get a nice bounce out of here.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so the bubble report's been going great. You've been really coming up with some great chart requests. We've been tweeting it out. So the bubble report, guys, anybody who's not a member to it, definitely check the links in the description, thebubblereport.com. It's $5 a week, and you get 2 fresh Elliott wave counts each morning. Plus, you get all the other good stuff that we do. We go over the S&P for the morning. We take a look at what the rest of the market is doing, and it's really pretty much, I would say, one of the best morning reports that are out there to get you ready for your trading day. So, and Paul provides 2 awesome wave counts, fresh wave counts each morning that we think are looking the strongest to look for setups for that day, or at least ones to keep on the radar going forward, like this eBay one. So really good stuff right there, and awesome work. So, so Paul, I'm going to take a look at a couple ones that are on my radar. And
Okay.
and then we'll take a look and see what the group's got some questions and chart requests out there too. So so the first one I want to point out here is Boeing. Okay, so this is looking pretty interesting right here. So this has had this huge consolidation pattern like forever, right? So ever since this, the Corona crash, it got down to, look at that, magic Fibonacci level right there, 89, before it started to bounce its way back up again. And then we just kind of chopped around for a while. It did a big triangle right here, and we broke out of it. Did a big triangle right here, and we kind of broke out of it. But we got some positive news over the weekend. The FAA is looking at certifying the 737 MAX again, and now the EU is looking at certifying it as well. So let's see how it behaves off of that news. It'll be very interesting. A couple concerns I have with Boeing kind of going into into here is we've got some resistance here off of that last breakout, and also this dark cloud cover day that we had. We had a big gap up here. We closed into 50% of the range of the prior candle, and that really started to project its move down. So when we look at the wave count here, the impulsive move down, what we can do is we can assume that we're retracing, right? So so however you want to look at this, could be a wave 5 up right here. This could be 1, 2. Here's your big gap, 3, 4, wave 5 up. If we look at that as a wave 5 up, what we want to look at here is what kind of corrective pattern that we're in. So if we go to the shorter term time frames, let me just pull up the hourly chart. One of the things that we could look at right here is that this was clearly, that dark cloud cover day was clearly an impulsive move down, right? And so what is like a zigzag, right? So what we're looking at here is that this was an impulsive move down, so 5, maybe a little ABC 3, and then very possibly if Boeing does not respond well to the EU news going into tomorrow, we may see another measured move down, right? So this zigzag, this 5, 3, 5 wave move down, and if it does do that, right, we could see the open gap filled here. And that would be about a symmetrical move down on that one. So I'm kind of looking at this on the bearish side. Obviously, the news can change anything, right? So we're not really we're looking at that area, but a measured move down would kind of bring us even past the gap here down to this 183 level. So definitely keeping Boeing on the radar, possibly on the short side, depending how it reacts to the news tomorrow. Now, if it gaps up huge, right, we want to make sure it doesn't get over the top of wave B, right? Because if it's impulsive, right, this could be wave 1 down. It was a very bearish day on Friday. We just want to see if maybe it'll do like a wave 2, and then could do 3, 4, 5 down. So we just want to see how it behaves in that area. So that's something we're looking at too. And then the other one I wanted to point out as well is Roku. Okay, so Roku has had a huge move recently, right? So it had good earnings. Right, so that was cool, right? Gapped up on there, then it pulled back pretty sharply, but it held the geometric line, went sideways for a while, and then started to impulse up. Almost seemed like out of nowhere, but not really, right? Because this thing was already trending its way up, right? And so, so what we can see here is just on this shorter term time frame. If we look at this last count, if we look at this as a fresh impulsive wave up, right? Here's your wave 1. Here's a zigzag down, ABC down, right? And then we've got a subwave 1 ABC subwave 2, and then it looks like we've got a 1-2-1-2 potential because of that other impulsive move up that we had on Friday. So let's kind of keep an eye on Roku here too. It could be interesting if subwave 3 is finished. We may see a pullback and then just kind of look for a wave 4 finish to this move. And if that is the case, we would basically look maybe for wave 4 to pull back to the 382 area for a 252.39 area, and then if that can hold for Roku, we might see a wave 5 up to try to push back up to all-time highs. So those are two names that I'm kind of keeping on the radar. One on the bearish side and one on the bullish side. Even though Roku may obviously pull back first before it kind of goes from there. So good. So I think we've both put out some cool ideas out there for some Elliott wave charts this week. We looked at the SPY, kind of showing that we're in a corrective channel right now, and we talked about how waves like to be contained by channels. So you can very, very successfully navigate the markets just by putting channels on waves, and wait till you break out of those waves to confirm whether or not the move is done. So good stuff there. So Paul, unless you've got any other charts you will look at, we can go through and see what kind of some of the chart ideas and questions that we have out there.
No, that sounds good.
Okay.
Take some requests.
Awesome. Good. All right. So I won't be able to get through all the chart requests like we normally do in my nightly lightning rounds. We'll get through as many as we can, and we'll try to take a look at a few of those. So Umesh, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And Angel, so you both are both on it too. So Tesla, what's up? So Paul, do you have a account on Tesla?
I sure do. Let's see here. Let me put this on a smaller time frame. We'll go to 45 minutes. Yeah, Tesla's been a fun one to watch. What I have for Tesla is we are in a wave 5, and we came up with a sub wave 3, and we're now correcting in an ABC. And we're not sure if this is going to go down to the 382 or if it's going to be a deeper retrace down to the 618. But I think we should see a little pullback before we go up again.
Got it. Yeah, so it does seem to be pausing right there. Is it possible that that's a wave B triangle?
It could be. It could be an A, and there could be a triangle in there, sure.
Got it. And then wave C pullback and then a bounce. That would be interesting. Yeah, so let's keep an eye on Tesla for a bit of a pullback and then see if it's ready to rip. So that could be interesting too. So good stuff there. We've had a few chart requests. So Shirley sent out a few as well. And again, guys, thanks everybody for keeping Shirley your thoughts and prayers. She gets better all the time. One of the ones that she has on there, that she emailed, I didn't put on there, but I noticed Umesh asked about it too. So Overstock. Do you have anything on Overstock? If not, I'd be happy to take a stab at it.
Let me see. I think so, yeah. Let's see, Overstock. Okay, yeah, I do have Overstock. Okay, looks like it was a work in progress. Let's see here. 2 hour. Yeah, Overstock, it looks like we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're probably going to come down in wave 2 tomorrow. So we should get a pullback in Overstock before we go up again.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. And then I've got one out there. Umesh, you got some really great names out there. I'm going to, let's take a look at 2 of those. Are looking pretty good. Let's take a look at Zoom. We may as well look at Zumba and see how that's behaving. I'm sure you've got one on Zoom.
Oh, yeah. We got one on Zoom. Okay, what I had for Zoom is, we're going up in wave 1. We had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, and I think again we're going to get a little pullback before we go higher on Zoom.
Yeah, a lot of strong names on Friday for the stay-at-home name. Zoom and Piton. A lot of these names were just really, really strong on Friday. So I would expect a little bit of a pullback here, like you said, some sort of wave 2 pullback. So let's see how they hold, and if they continue to work their way up. Again, it doesn't look like this COVID thing is is really making any progress. I mean, they're even saying that vaccines aren't going to help at all. So again, these stay-at-home names, they closed down the New York City schools. So after all that news, I mean, Zoom just kept going again. It was originally bearish on it. It looked like it was working on a 1-2-1-2 to the downside, but once it put in that higher low where Paul's got his wave 2 low right there, and then started to break above it, then just completely changed composure, right? And so now it is looking impulsive back to the upside. So let's see if we can catch a viable pullback on it. That would be great. And what else? Let's take a look at. Do you have anything on Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, sure. We got something on Bitcoin. It looks to me like Bitcoin probably finished a wave 3, and we should be getting a wave 4 pullback. Oh, there we go. Yeah, what a monster Bitcoin has been, just straight up for weeks.
Yeah, just incredible, just incredible. So yeah, we'll see how that holds. That wave four pullback might panic some, but it might be a great opportunity to buy the dip on it. So that would be very, very interesting too. And then Ethereum may kind of move in tandem with it. So good stuff there. Rocky. So yeah, so we already touched on Baba looking really strong right there. Paul, do you have anything on Snap? If not, I can take a stab at it. But Snap was really strong the other day too.
Actually, yeah, why don't you grab it? I like
Okay,
to keep
yeah.
charts together.
Let me take a look at Snap. So Snap had a great move the other day. This is one that members did well on in the group. It just was incredible, right? We had this triangle. We pointed this out here in the live streams. We asked, folks asked about it the other day. Gave a great high volume breakout of this triangle right here, this little pullback, right? So this could have, it could be an A, B, type C type thing. But either way, it was just a consolidated pattern, and we broke out of it. We got over the 8-day with some increased volume. We got some great follow through on Friday. I really love the intraday price action on this one here. Last week we did a series on catching a runner, and this when you see these type of moves, right, where it breaks out like that, and you can find a bull flag or a double inside 15 here where it pulls back to the ADMA and then just starts to move. What a great opportunity for a move. Members did really well on this intraday, and it got some great follow through on Friday. So just kind of looking at this, I mean, to me, this gap, is somewhat exhaustive. But one of the things we could look at here, if we do a fresh count on this one, let me get a fresh screen here, is kind of like this, right? So we can definitely see an impulsive move here, right? This looks like a wave 2, right? A lot of times these big gaps can be wave 3. Right, and then this could have been a wave 4 pullback right here, and we could be working on a fresh impulsive move up to wave 5. And this is a very inexpensive name compared to some of the other ones, right? We've seen names like Zoom go from $50 to $500, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was trying to do that, right? So let's kind of keep an eye on this here and see if this got some good strength right here. We're kind of chopping around a little bit. If we do pull back, and this is a wave 4, let's kind of keep an eye on it and see if it gives us sort of a triangle type move, and then maybe we'll break out of it for a wave 5. So that looks pretty good there for that, and good stuff. And like I said, guys, thanks everybody for keeping Shirley in your thoughts and prayers. Let me pull up one of hers right here, unless you want to jump on Twilio. Twilio is looking pretty interesting too. We got a pullback to the 618, and then we closed above it here the other day, right? So it's looking pretty good. It's kind of coming out of the range. There's some bulls on this one right here. I'm not really a big fan of the price action of Twilio. I don't really like how it moves. It gives a lot of upper shadows and kind of it gets real choppy and grindy. But it could be working on a fresh wave up. I like how it's over the ADMA. I like how it got over the cloud with some increased volume. So let's see if that can kind of work its way up there. I kind of started working on an impulsive move last time. We kind of saw this ABC move, looked like a subwave 1, but then we breached that, right? So this is that is invalid right now. So other than that, it basically we can kind of look at this as a fresh start, and maybe this is your wave 1 up here. We're starting the wave 1 at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. So maybe look for a little corrective pattern, and then we'll see if it can kind of go from there. So good stuff. Thanks, Shirley. Mike, what's going on? Good to see you. And then Boeing. Yeah, we looked at Boeing too. I'm kind of leaning bearish on it, on that zigzag potential to the downside. But let's see how it reacts to the news there. So good stuff there. We've got a few coming in here from iWow. All of them are pretty much ones that we like to track on that. So Paul, I don't know, Neo, Rocket, or DKNG, any of those?
Rocket sounds good.
Cool.
Okay, here we go. Rocket, I've been watching this one for a while, and it's taken more than a day to retrace here, but we had our wave 1 up, and we should be getting a wave 2 down into the 618 zone, hopefully.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice, good stuff. And I know you were stocking DKNG for a while, and Neo.
DKNG.
These are all great charts and ones that we love to trade.
Looks like DKNG also, like a lot of stocks, completed a wave 1, and then we're looking at a wave 2 pullback in DKNG also.
Yes, so some nice moves there. And then Neo, what do you think about Neo? I don't know how your count is on it. This thing's been moving.
It just doesn't stop going up, does it? Let's see. Neo.
Yeah, and it kind of just, it had earnings, and it was just kind of like, okay, I guess it's fine. So, it didn't flush after earnings, so.
Yeah, we had this big run up, this big wave 1, and then we kind of came down in a wave A, and I thought we were going to do an ABC and go lower, but price came right through the bearish 618 right here. So price has actually stopped right at the bearish 618. So I think if we break this, we're going to go higher. But I was thinking another leg down, but maybe not. Maybe
Let's
it's
see how.
too
Yeah.
bullish.
Let's see how it handles that level. That'd be really, really interesting. Above it, bullish. Below it, bearish. Till that wave
Yep.
2 pullback, and then we'll get bullish again, maybe. So unless it gets some news. So good stuff. Good, Robin. Thanks for tuning in, Christian. Thanks for tuning in, Gregory. You made it, Gregory. Good to see you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the sound checks. I really appreciate it. So Zayar, we covered AMD for sure. That was the first one that Paul was talking about this evening. So if you didn't catch it, definitely be sure to tune back on the recording for that. The Nest. Yeah. So good to see you, and thanks for tuning in. We got a couple on here. Let's see. We've got Zoom Info, GoGo, Fubo, or GameStop. Any of those that you've been stalking at all?
Don't think I have those actually.
Let's take a look. I'm going to take a look at GME. So this thing is this got some crazy action the other day. Let me get this pulled up here. So GME had some big call activity the other day, and it gave a big spike, but it was really tough to catch. I was almost looking to ride in on the news here, but the spreads were all over the place on this action. It got some follow through the upside too. So this had a pretty big impulsive move up recently. It had activist investor type stuff. So this thing has just been going down forever, right? And it basically just started this fresh impulsive move up. So one of the things that we could look at on this with this last pullback is just look at this as a fresh wave up right here. I mean, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So if we just call this a fresh wave 1, and then you can see here if we get the retracement on it from, just to say we started from the base right here to here, we're basically holding the 382 so far, right? So off of that this first pullback. So if we could assume that this is maybe kind of a ABC-ish type move, let's just call this wave 2. And then just continue to look at this thing to see if it's going to work itself up. We've got a nice push up right here. Look for a retrace and see if it can give us the start of a wave 3. But kind of has earnings coming up pretty soon, so let's see how that holds and where it goes from there. Again, it's a hugely shorted stock, so wouldn't be surprised to see it squeeze. So good stuff. Thanks, the Nest. I appreciate it. So Christian, the golden zone for wave 4 would be 382 to 5, right? So the golden zone is kind of a special thing, right? It's basically it's just an area that Paul looks for, that we look for, that's between the 618 and the 786, right? So it's very rare to see a wave 4 that pulls back that deeply. In fact, if you started that from wave 1, it wouldn't be a wave 4, because if it were a 618 is possible, but a 786 typically overlaps the start of wave 1 unless you're in some crazy long, diagonal. So it's still, the 382 is important. It's a key level. It's a key zone for a wave 4. We typically see a wave 4 retrace back to the 382, and then possibly between that 382 and the 0.5. So yeah, for sure. Just the golden zone is specifically for the 618 and the 786. So good stuff, Robin. Yeah. So we looked at space, and Paul pulled that one up already, and the Nest, Regeneron. So it does look amazing, but check out that channel. Paul's thinking it might finish up that wave 5 down to get to the bottom of it before a bounce. So good stuff there. Good. Let's see what else we got out there. Just want to make sure I'm getting all the questions out there. Do you have a account on Netflix?
I do.
Cool. Let's do that. Let's check that out.
You got it. Let's see, Netflix. Oh, Netflix is in the channel too.
Yeah, this thing's been chopping forever.
Yeah, it's been sideways in this 3-4, and then this could possibly be a 1-2, and we're going up in a new impulse here. We had a wave 1, and then we had wave 2 pullback right to the 618, and we could be doing another mini 1-2, and it could be up from here. This could be a good one tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah, that 786 we talked about a few weeks ago on the Elliott Wave show, and it did give a nice blast off like there, but it ended up just being a wave B. We were hoping it was ready to start a huge impulsive move up, but it could be trying again. So and Netflix is not one that's going to hide. This thing's going to move one way or the other eventually. So definitely want to keep on the radar there. Blonde Broker, thanks for tuning in. Buying Baba Commons too. The early move, nice. Yeah, it's definitely starting. So let's see if it gives us a pullback, another viable pullback on that one there too. Jeff, thanks for tuning in. Ennox, probably not going to get to that one here tonight. And Royal, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. We looked at Roku earlier, so that's definitely on the radar. Paul, do you have anything on pins?
Let's see. I believe so. Let's see.
Pins is a popular one that we like to trade as well. So let's take a look here.
Yeah, pins has been a good one. Let's see. I just saw it. Pins. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Looks like pins had a nice wave three run up, and then we had our ABC correction. And we've been slowly grinding up from there.
Yeah, it's just been kind of moving. Members got a good overnight on that one from Thursday to Friday, so that was a good trade on that. Again, it's just kind of grinding its way up. It's just steadily just moving up, right? It's hanging on to the ADMA and still going. So good stuff there. Do you have any charts on any of the solar names or
Mm, let's see.
like FSLR? You look at that one. You got Sedge.
FSLR. Let me bring that up.
Solar's
Actually, I
been
don't
so
have
hot.
SLR.
Yeah.
I have
Solar.
a tan. Let's see how
Yeah, take a
that's
look at
doing.
tan. So let's just look at the whole solar sector right there.
Yeah, it's been hot lately. So so for tan, we had a wave one up, and then we had an ABC wave two, and this looks like we're doing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave one, two, and then we should be going up in three right now. So
Yes.
yeah, tan looks good.
This thing's been so strong recently, yeah. So nice. Suyang, thanks for tuning in. So we went over Zoom. We definitely went over Tesla, and Solo's another one of those electric vehicle type name ones. That's kind of interesting too. Workhorse is actually looking pretty interesting these days. I don't know if you've done one recently on that, Paul, but I looked at that the
Yeah,
other day. I was like, that was
workhorse.
like hugely impulsive.
Yeah, workhorse. Here we go. We had a one, and then an ABC for wave two, and we're going up. It looks like we're right at, right in wave three right now, maybe towards the top of wave three.
Yeah, so we'll look for a pullback on that, and Solo might be doing the same thing. A couple of these ones are just blasted off on there. Lawrence, what's going on? JD, that would be an interesting one. I might, if you don't have one, Paul, I might
Yeah,
pull that
go
up.
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so JD's actually going to be on my bearish radar going tomorrow. I know Baba's looking really hot, and of course if Baba keeps moving, but I want to see if JD gets a little bit more kind of pullback type action. I mean, I was just looking at the other day with double inside week on this one. It just is kind of looking a little bit just choppy up here. I mean, just to kind of support. I mean, it has been working its way up really, really hard, right? We had a big blast off right here, but again, this could be kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it just feels corrective. So one of the things I'm kind of looking at right here is the potential for this being an A move down, and here, let's take a look here. So this could be an A, right? This could be a B, right? And we might be working on a wave C down. But what was interesting about this last push up is we couldn't get to the recent highs. And so it's also possible that this could be working on a larger impulsive move down. You can see that big blast down right there. So if this is the case, this very well could be just the start of a larger wave down, right? So if this is a wave one, this could be a really deep retraced wave two, right? And then you can see we've got a sub wave one, A, B, C, wave two. So let's see how that finishes right there, and then we might see a larger wave three down, wave three of three, right? So we just kind of have to see how that holds there. But I'm generally leaning bearish on it. But again, if Baba moves, then JD could move with it. So just kind of keep that in mind too. So good stuff there. Yeah, great requests on that one. I'm just going to keep it on the bearish radar, and we'll get through a few more guys. Again, I appreciate. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's been a good show. I don't want to keep Paul too much longer. But one of the things that one of the good ones here that we have on the radar, Paul, do you mind pulling up? I'm sure you've got a count on it. Pulling up Nvidia.
yes, NVIDIA. Let's see.
So while he's pulling that up right there, guys, great earnings, great revenue, good guidance, but it's
Yeah,
looking like
so
almost like an H pattern, or H cell pattern right there. So it's you want to be bullish on it because of the numbers, but you're like, how's it doing? Is it going to hold or no?
yeah, it looks like we had a 1, 2, and then another wave one, and then we've had this, downturn. We're right at the 618 right now. So, we'd like to see it bounce out of the box here and out of the golden zone would be good.
Yeah, I think they've just been crushing premiums after earnings. I mean, they had great earnings, and so anybody who's like long into earnings going into next week, anybody who had the weeklies last week just got crushed. And so coming into this week, let's keep an eye on it and see how it behaves. I really think this thing's eventually going to rip just because it's just such a strong company. I mean, I personally can't wait until their next video cards come back out again to see if I can get it, and then see where we go from there. But yeah, that looks interesting. There is a possible wave one too. If that wave two down wasn't a zigzag. Otherwise, that might just be the A that where you have your wave two on there. That might just be the A, and then maybe with that wave 1 is actually the B, and maybe we'll see like a wave B triangle even, and then we might see a wave C zigzag down, which would be nasty. But if once that's done, then we could probably look to buy the dip for sure. So definitely good stuff to look at. Good. So a lot of questions out there on Neo. Chris, yeah, we got Nvidia. We just nailed that one. We looked at Neo a little bit earlier, so good stuff there. We looked at Netflix. So really, really appreciate it. For all the requests out there. Let's take a look at one more. Reed's got a couple out there. He's got. Alessandro, what's going on? Yeah, so when I said the group did well, the group is our options group, right? So we've got that's the if you check out the links in the description, there's a link in there for Trade with Paul. That gives you access to the options group, and we've also got an Elliott Wave channel on the Discord. We've got the private Twitter, and of course, full members get access to the bubble report, but you can also get the bubble report separately. There's a link for that as well. So yeah, so we've got a big group that we day trade with intraday. We talk about charts, we look at setups. Folks ask Paul all day about different chart counts to get live updates on it. So if you're interested, definitely check out that link there, and we'd love to have you in the group. So let's take a look at one more. Let's take a look at PayPal for Reed, and then we'll wrap up for the evening.
Okay, no, that sounds good. PayPal is a nice count, I believe. PayPal. Okay, yeah, it looks like PayPal is doing a 1-2-1-2, or this could turn into a leading diagonal. So this is one we got to kind of watch to see. We need more price action on this one to see where we are.
It's getting tight. Yeah, we had a double inside week on that one too. So again, a breakout could be pretty strong on it.
Right.
It had a huge gap up on the Bitcoin news. I believe they had good earnings, and then it was down off of good earnings. So I mean, it's got a lot of positive stuff behind it, and we just need the chart to support it. And maybe the 1-2-1-2 will get this thing going double inside week up. So good stuff. We'll keep an eye on those for sure. So good, Reed. Thanks. Yeah, the bubble report. Appreciate it. That's awesome getting the wave counts in there from Paul. Plus we look at the SPX, we look at the SPY, we look at the futures. We got a game plan every day. We got a watch list that we keep an eye on, and just it's a great prep, I think, for anybody's market day. So good stuff there. And really appreciate everybody for tuning in this evening. And guys, thanks again for Paul for joining us here tonight. And really appreciate it for the Elliott Wave Show with John and Paul. We'll be back at it again. Well, I'll be back at it again live with y'all tomorrow night, so we'll be sure to look at some more chart requests and everything like that. If I didn't get your chart request tonight, sorry about that. It's tough with the group here but we try to get through as many as we can to try to find the best wave counts, and hopefully we'll be able to get through them all tomorrow. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. If you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube, and be sure to hit the like button. It goes a long way. Paul and I appreciate that. So again, Paul, thanks again so much for tuning in and for doing the show again. And we'll look to see you next week after Thanksgiving.
Hey, you got it. Sounds good.
Well,
one thing I was going to say about the bubble report that I've been liking is the unusual call activity that shows up on there. That's pretty interesting.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, that's been helping us out a lot. So that's helped us out find Neo. It's also shown us some very interesting pullbacks. And looking at call input activity. So yeah, it's really, really good. Awesome, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
So good. All right, guys. Well, I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your evening. Thanks again for tuning in, and be sure to stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And we'll talk to you guys soon. And thanks again, Paul.